أهلا بكم مشاهدينا في لقاء متجدد وحلقة جديدة من برنامجكم مع السفير. معي ومعكم في حلقة هذا اليوم سعادة سفيرة الإتحاد الأوروبي لدى البلاد أني كويستينين في لقاء لا يخلو من التنوع والثقافة والتشويق. Your Excellency, welcome to our program.
Thank you, it's my pleasure to be here.
And we're pleased to meet you too. Your Excellency, when did you present your credentials and what are your most outstanding memories about that day?
I presented my credentials to His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Mishal on 18 November 2023, and then 1 month later he became His Highness the Emir. I've had several occasions to meet with His Highness thereafter, and I'm looking backwards to the day of presenting my credentials with a lot of good memories of the warm welcome and the hospitality, and also of the beauty of the magnificent Bayan Palace.
Your Excellency, can you share with us your impressions of Kuwait and details about it as an EU ambassador here?
I'm very pleased to serve here in Kuwait as ambassador of the European Union. I felt very welcome from the very first day, and I have also felt the hospitality of the Kuwaiti people. I have discovered and I continue discovering the history and the culture and the cuisine of Kuwait. What has also positively surprised me is that many Kuwaitis have traveled in Europe across many countries, including my country, which is Finland. And they have very good, let's say, stories to tell me about their travels, and this gives me a very good feeling. I have to say that it's very rewarding to be here and build the relations between the European Union and Kuwait.
Your Excellency, how do you evaluate the strength of bilateral relations and EU?
Bilateral relations between the European Union and Kuwait are excellent. We enjoy a very strong and long-standing friendship based on shared interests, and we are also like a reliable and close friend of Kuwait. And I see a lot of potential in our relations to move forward, and this we can do at the bilateral level, but also regionally and at the global level.
What are the key fields of cooperation between EU and Kuwait, and how can these be expanded further?
As I said, the European Union views Kuwait as a like-minded partner in a very dynamic region. And when it comes to working together, I see the field of humanitarian issues as a significant one. We are also working together in issues related to promoting peace and diplomacy. I have to mention that the European Union is the second largest trading partner of Kuwait, and there's so much more we can do together. And when I say doing together, from my side, it means also working together with the European Union member states' embassies in the Team Europe spirit. So, as I said, our relations are expanding, and we enjoy already very good cooperation in many fields. And I would like to mention the political dialogue. I would like to mention trade and investments, also energy and climate change, economic diversification, education, health, research and innovation, and also, as I said, the regional files of security and stability. And when it comes to humanitarian aid, it's vital and it's a common concern for the European Union and Kuwait to support the people, the vulnerable people in need. When I think about any other areas of cooperation, I would like to mention intercultural cooperation, students exchange people-to-people contacts, and also women empowerment. We just recently had the International Women's Day, and this is a good reminder for all of us to keep in mind the importance of women's empowerment. And also people-to-people contacts at all possible fields, which increase the understanding between people and bring us closer together. And of course, visa requirements is also one of the areas in which we have to see progress in the coming times.
Your Excellency, speaking about economy and trade, what is the total volume of the bilateral trade, and what are your plans to increase it further in the future?
European Union and its member states, we count as a second most important trading partner of Kuwait, and the value of trade in goods amounts to 12.9 billion euros. I see this as a very good starting point for continuing increasing the economic exchanges between Europe and Kuwait. We are already a main partner for Kuwait, but we can do even better. And in that sense, we have put in place a project which is called EU GCC Economic Diversification Project. It's a platform to improve, let's say, working together on issues such as economic diversification strategies, macroeconomic stability, trade, investments, and innovation and research. So this is a second phase of this project, and I see that it will yield results in the coming times. Also, later this year in Kuwait, we will organize together with our Kuwaiti counterparts EU GCC Economic Business Forum. And I think this is a very important moment for the European businesses and businesses from across the GCC to come together. We don't have a precise timing yet for this event, but it will be later this year. And also we meet on an annual basis in the format of senior officials meetings, and we look at the issues related to the trade and investment field. So European Union is very committed to enhance economic relations with Kuwait and facilitating investment flows between Kuwait and the EU.
Your Excellency, as we all know, EU gives foreign investments due attention. What is the volume of the Kuwaiti investments in Europe?
Kuwaiti investments in Europe from the private sector and from the public sector are quite large. I do not have the precise figures, but we are of course talking about billions of euros, and this is a very important tie and bond between Kuwait and European Union, the investment flows to the European markets, and we hope that this will continue also in the future.
Your Excellency, you just mentioned the cooperation between Kuwait and EU in the humanitarian role. How do you see Kuwait's role in this field?
Kuwait is an appreciated partner for the European Union in the humanitarian field. And as a very concrete example, Kuwait hosted the first 3 international donor conferences on Syria from 2013 to 2015. And this was the basis on which the European Union has continued to organize these conferences. And actually, this international response is very important also to the situation in Syria right now. The next international conference will be organized in Brussels, taking place on 17th of March, so very soon. Also, last month we had a visit from Brussels. We had the European Commission's Director General for Civil Protection and Humanitarian Aid Operations, Mr. Popovsky here, and he had bilateral talks with the Kuwaiti authorities on ways on how we can work more closely together with Kuwait on the issues related to humanitarian issues and also civil protection.
How do you see the role of the free trade agreement in enhancing economic cooperation?
This is a very important question. European leaders and GCC leaders met last year in October in the format of a summit for the first time ever, and they reconfirmed our shared interest to have a thriving and mutually favorable trade and investment relationship, which has to be developed further together. And I see that this has to take place at the bilateral level, also regionally and globally in various frameworks. And on this basis, the talks have continued between the European Union and the GCC on how we can move forward with the EU-GCC Free Trade Agreement. And hopefully we will see some progress under the presidency of Kuwait of the GCC, which is running until later this year. We are also looking forward to having different formats of how we can be stronger together in the trade and economic field, and the possibility of strategic partnership agreements with each of the GCC countries is coming to the discussion, including with Kuwait, and this would also be a basis for strengthening our relationship and possibilities for further investments.
Your Excellency, we will take a break now and we will continue later. مشاهدينا فاصل وراجعين لكم. مشاهدينا رجعنا لكم من بعد الفاصل ونستكمل حوارنا مع سعادة سفيرة الاتحاد الأوروبي لدى البلاد كويستينين. Your Excellency, welcome back.
Thank you.
What measures are in place to support Kuwaiti businesses entering the European market?
The European Union has a genuine interest in expanding cooperation with the GCC countries, including Kuwait, in the business sector. And as part of these events, quite recently we opened a European Chamber of Commerce in the Gulf, which is based in Riyadh, and this chamber is also available as a platform to facilitate business contacts and cooperation and promote trade and investments between EU and GCC countries, including Kuwait. I would like to also mention the EU GCC Business Forum that we are planning to organize later this year in Kuwait, and it will be a major event and serve as a platform for Kuwaiti companies in particular to establish networks with European counterparts.
Your Excellency, how do you describe the European culture in general, and what are its most prominent features?
Well, the motto that kind of summarizes very well what is European culture about is united in diversity, which means that our heritage is very rich, and it's a mosaic of different creative and cultural expressions, and it's an inheritance from the very many generations before us and legacy to the ones coming after us. Europe brings together 450 million people in 27 countries. It has 24 official languages and many cultures and different ways of living. And I personally find that this is kind of inspiring and powerful. Culture is part of our DNA, and Europe has been the birthplace of so many renowned artists and thinkers and philosophers and cultural movements, and those are already famous worldwide. And I would like to also mention the archaeological sites, museums and architecture, artworks, the cities that we have, many of them are very beautiful and historical, literacy, music, audiovisual arts and works, and also traditions and practices and knowledge of the European citizens.
Your Excellency, you just mentioned the diversity point. How does this diversity affect the national identity?
I have to say that we are diverse in so many different ways, and we feel that we are enriched by these ways of being different and diverse, and at the same time being together. And over the so many centuries already, the Europeans have been living together and inspired each other from their differences, living together and accepting each other, learning from each other, and also defining together with what the European identity is. I also see that there is kind of layers of identities that all of us we have. So European identity is one of them that brings us together.
What aspects of European culture do you think Kuwaitis would find most interesting?
There's so much to share from Europe, I have to say. As I said, there are so many very attractive places to visit or to study or to make business in Europe. And if something comes to my mind, I would like to mention museums in Paris or in Amsterdam. I would like to mention the old theaters in Prague or Budapest, or the world-famous Islamic architecture in southern Spain, or many other places that would definitely attract the attention of Kuwaiti visitors. So at the same time, when we are so different and you can find so many things to discover in various places in Europe, we are also, let's say, united in such a way that we all share the pluralistic way of looking at culture, art and creativity. We enjoy individual freedoms and liberties which are protected in European Union, and I think this is also something which is inspiring visitors from abroad.
Your Excellency, Europe has different official languages. How does this multilingualism shape the European identity?
Indeed, there are as many as 24 official languages in the European Union. So multilingualism is enshrined in the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights, which means that EU nationals have the right to ask for information or use any of these official languages to communicate with the EU institutions, and the institutions will reply to them in the same language. Also, all legal texts and acts are translated into 24 languages, and when our leaders or ministers meet, they are entitled to use their own language, which will be interpreted to the other languages. Also, in the European Parliament, all the 24 languages are in use, and they are used in the communication when the Parliament is in session.
Are there any Europe-Kuwaiti collaborations in arts, music, or education?
I have been very positively surprised, actually, when I have discovered when, let's say, settling in Kuwait and getting to know the country better, that there are indeed collaborations between Europe and Kuwait. I would like to mention, for instance, the landmark of Kuwait, the Kuwaiti Towers. They were designed by Danish architects Malene Björn as part of water distribution project run by a Swedish engineering company VBB. And Danish architect Jørn Utzon designed the beautiful building of National Assembly of Kuwait. And of course, this cooperation in the field of archaeology is underway. So there are missions from Denmark, Poland, France, and Italy every year to work together with the Kuwaiti scientists in the archaeology field. And in particular, in the Failaka Island, there are remains from the 20,000 years old Greek Hellenistic structures, which are, let's say, a strong cultural and historical connection between Europe and Kuwait. And also, when we think about other fields, there are many Kuwaitis study in European countries, and also there's a growing number of Europeans coming to Kuwait and studying, for instance, Arabic language in Kuwait.
Your Excellency, can I ask you, what is the most outstanding Kuwaiti tradition you may describe as unique?
This is a challenging question, because how can I name only one? I would mention as a fascinating parts of Kuwaiti cultures, Girgians, Kafkas, and Sadu weaving arts. But if I have to pick up only one, I would pick up Diwaniyas, which are very unique.
How do you see tourism contributing to the strengthening of relations between Kuwait and EU?
Thousands of Kuwaitis visit European Union member states every year, and it's my priority to facilitate these movements as much as possible. The European Union has recently approved allowing Kuwaitis to obtain a 5 years multiple entry Schengen visa since the first entry, and I think this is a positive step forward.
Your Excellency, what Kuwaiti traditions, including music, arts, and cuisine, have you most enjoyed experiencing during your time here?
I have already mentioned the Sadu art and Kafkas and Girgians. I would like to also praise the Kuwaiti cuisine. I find it very rich in flavors. I have several Kuwaiti dishes that are my favorites, and I would like to mention maybe majboush, diyai, and also haris, and yiraj,
Yes.
and lugaimat.
Jerish, yes.
The pronunciation was maybe not the correct one, but
Yeah.
this is something I have tasted in the past days.
How do you describe the experience of Ramadan celebrations in Kuwait?
Ramadan time in Kuwait is absolutely fantastic. I very much enjoy meeting with my Kuwaiti friends and participating in Kafkas, and also being invited to Diwaniyas. It's a time of strengthening the social bonds, and it also shows the warm and hospitable nature of Kuwaiti people. I enjoy the Ramadan traditions. It helps me to understand much better the country. And I have served previously in Egypt at the European Union delegation, so I had experience of Ramadan times in Egypt. I see that every country has different traditions, but the Kuwaiti ones are indeed specific and unique.
Your Excellency, we will have a quick break and we will be right back. مشاهدينا، فاصل وراجعين لكم. مشاهدينا رجعنا لكم بعد الفاصل ونستكمل حوارنا في برنامج مع السفير. Your Excellency, as we all know, the European society is famous for punctuality, efficiency, and neutrality. How does these values influence daily life?
I'm very honored to hear that Europe is famous for these nice values, which I also embrace. And I would like to add a fourth one, and I think it's very important these days in the changing world and volatile period of time, and that is reliability and friendship. And Europe remains a reliable and friendly partner for many regions and countries, including Kuwait. We, as Europeans, we honor our commitments and we value our relations, and I think it's very important that such a fundamental, let's say, value as reliability and friendship is respected these days.
How does European balance traditions with innovation in its approach to culture and education?
Our culture and our cultural heritage is rooted in history and arts and philosophy, and it guides us. But I would like to also add that we continuously evolve through cutting-edge research, digital transformation, modern education systems, and we foster this balance by investing in, on the one hand, cultural preservation, while championing at the same time with creative industries, STEM advancements and global academic exchange programs like Erasmus+, which is now open for Kuwaiti students.
Have you ever visited Al Babtain Library?
I have heard about Al Babtain Library, and I know that there are lots of literature and books in the library, and I definitely will add it into the list of places to visit in Kuwait.
Definitely, Your Excellency, you have to go and check there. Can you tell us about your Ramadan look?
I'm now here in Kuwait spending my second Ramadan time, and I have opted for respecting the local culture and traditions by dressing from time to time in clothes which are very comfortable. They are Kuwaiti design and Kuwaiti production, and they give me also a feeling of connection with the Kuwaiti people. So during this Ramadan, I have been honored to visit several divaniyas. I have been received with open arms and hearts, and I have been able to understand better the history of this country when I have been listening to the stories from the Kuwaiti elders, let's put it this way, about their grandfathers and the history of the family, and I have been taken around in this divans, and I have been very, let's say, I have felt very welcome altogether. And one part of this is, of course, the dress in which I'm attending these meetings, but it's only the small part. It's just for me a way to feel connected to Kuwaiti people and to my hosts. So this is a great pleasure, and I'm so thankful for the very warm welcome that I have received.
Your Excellency, what is the common thing you've heard from Kuwaitis about Europe?
A common thing that I hear about Europe is that they are excited, Kuwaitis are excited that they can discover so many different places in Europe. And they surprise me every time when they tell me about remote places where they have been, including in my own country, Finland, when they talk about the Finnish Lapland and Rovaniemi, and they describe me the conditions over there, and I'm like, this is really amazing. I come from the north of Europe, and they know where I come from, and it's also a point of common discussion.
Your Excellency, as you told us before, you've been to Egypt before. What makes Kuwait different than the other country you've been to?
In my opinion, every country is unique, and every country has its own story, its own history and culture. When I think about relations between Kuwait and Europe, what has surprised me as well is that Kuwaitis see Europe as a stable and reliable partner, and this is, of course, a very positive observation. The fact that they have connections since a long time to Europe, and they regularly visit European countries. They turn to us on issues which are of common interest. They see us as a good partner. This is a very positive thing. It helps me to work as an ambassador of the European Union when let's say, the perception of Europe in Kuwait is rather positive.
Yes, and it's always get better.
It can always get better, and it is my responsibility to do everything I can in my powers to enhance our relations between Kuwait and European Union. When I'm serving here as an ambassador to Kuwait of the European Union, I very much enjoy discovering the country, and I have seen so many interesting places. I would like to mention the Jahra Natural Reserve, where I went for an excursion, and I saw the natural part of Kuwait, and I saw the wildlife of Kuwait, and that was a very nice experience for me. I was also able to visit a camel race on an ordinary day. So I was there as a tourist, one can say. I saw the camel owners bringing their camels to the racing and preparing them for the race. I saw the beauty of the movement of these wonderful animals and the fun around it, basically, the racing fun. And this is unique. I couldn't imagine that I could do it anywhere in Europe, at least. So it was a very unique experience. I'm also planning to get more into this sadu weaving techniques. I have heard that it's possibility to learn it. There are courses available, and I'm genuinely interested, and I would like to know how the technique works here. So these are kind of my plans for Kuwait.
It is a true art, actually.
It is beautiful.
Yes. Your Excellency, thank you for your time, and thank you for being with us on our show.
Thank you so much.
مشاهدينا، وصلنا معاكم لنهاية حلقتنا اليوم من برنامج مع السفير. نراكم في حلقة أخرى. دمتم في أمان الله ورعايته.